Welcome to partialarc.com. Don't do that.
I'm here to save the day. I'm here to save the day.
Soon I will be invincible. Because comics.
Welcome to Because Comics. This is episode 57. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and I'm joined by my co-host, the Tesla-coiling Mike Christensen. Mike, that was a great impression of a Tesla coil.
Thank you, Jay.
Man, now, I gave you this name weeks in advance, and you had a lot of time to research it.
That thing that definitely happened. Yes, you did.
What do you think of Nikola Tesla? Great guy? Cool guy?
He was played by David Bowie in The Prestige.
The Prestige, which, by the way, great casting.
Yes.
I mean, probably one of my favorite parts of that movie.
I know a lot more about Nikola Tesla other than that.
Well, we should save that for the bonus Nikola Tesla episode that we'll release right after this one.
We have not released our Shaquille O'Neal content.
Oh, we are.
We got to do that, Jay.
Whoa. I don't know if they're ready. I don't know if they're ready for the bonus Shaquille O'Neal.
Christmas.
No one has any idea what we're talking about. Maybe we should talk about comics.
All right. Jay, you know this, and our audience probably does. Comic books come out every month, every week.
Or every week.
And sometimes we read them. Jay, what you reading?
Guys.
These segues, we're just nailing
We're
them.
getting better. Episode 57, folks. Guys, my current poll is from IDW. The comic is Archangel, written by William Gibson, and drawn by Butch, Guice and Tom Palmer. Now, Archangel is, again, written by William Gibson, and William actually is known for writing a lot of science fiction-y books, and this is kind of his first crack, I believe it's his first crack, at comics. And this is very much a science sci-fi comic book. There's only one issue out as of the time of this recording, but if I had to give you a one-sentence pitch, it's basically Agent Carter meets Looper.
Hey, I like those things.
Yeah, I like both of those things.
I like to know more, Jay.
So here we go, fellas.
Oh, good.
So
I was worried you weren't going to tell us anything else.
Yeah, of course. So Archangel is basically the first issue. It's pretty long. It packs a lot of content into it. It's very much setting up the world of what we're going to explore. It's in the future as we start. Actually, and by future, I mean just 2016, but it's an alternate 2016 where things are terrible and like, we need time travel to fix things.
Okay.
So the comic opens and they're sending people back in time.
Okay.
And they have like changed their face for some reason. We don't know yet. We don't know what all of this stuff is happening. But
There's only one issue out.
There's only one issue out.
Got it.
But we find out that these people that have just gone back in time are nefarious, that are dangerous folks that are going to do terrible things. And they've gone back to 1945, very pivotal moment in history.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they've gone back to change something, to do something in the American government, because the person that has gone back is taking the place of, I believe, his grandfather, they say. And they've made him to look like his grandfather through facial changery.
So we do know why they did it.
Right, but no, but we don't know what he's going to do when he gets back there. We just know he is taking the place of his grandfather.
I'm with you now.
Right. And if anyone is lost, it is the same feeling reading this comic book. Because
I'm tracking it.
They kind of what's really interesting about this comic is William kind of just throws you right into the story. There isn't a long exposition. It isn't like the year is 2016 and resources have blah, blah, blah. It's just kind of made apparent that like the world is not so great right now and we're making some changes. So there are two timelines going on in parallel when this comic is running in this first issue. We've got 1945 after we see this group of potentially bad guys going back in time to take over someone's place in past history, and we keep flashing back to 2016 to see the people in kind of the control room. And we meet in the control room after these people go back, we meet the scientist who sent these people back, and we actually see her kind of turn the tables on the people still there, and it seems like there is kind of a coup going on in the future, that things are not what it seems, and that everybody might not be on the same side as these people that have gone back in time. Now, back in the 1945s, we meet our main character. Now,
1945s.
In 1945s. There are many of them. We meet our main character, who I said, Agent Carter meets Looper. We meet our Agent Carter. Her name is Naomi Givens. And Naomi Givens is kind of the only really fleshed out character in this first issue. There are a lot of characters introduced. This woman in the future who seems to be putting on a coup, and there's more to her than meets the eye, who's been running this time travel-y program. The bad guy character, or we think he's a bad guy, sent back in time. And also this Naomi Givens, she works for British intelligence, very Agent Cartery.
Yeah.
And she's investigating, there's a mysterious plane crash in 1945.
Is she's a native to 1945?
She's a native to 1945.
Got it, with you.
So far, the only people that seem to have time traveled is this man who has gone back in time to replace his grandfather and two goons, these two big goons that have come along with him, and this woman in the future who's maybe good, maybe bad, sent somebody afterwards to foil this guy's plot. And these people have come back in time, I won't say how, and things went a little bit wrong when they went back in time to foil the bad guy's plot, and now they're kind of in it. They're in a bad way.
Yeah.
And Naomi Givens, this British intelligence officer in the 1945s, is investigating this... Did I say 1945s again?
Yeah.
I did. I'm going to keep it. So, in the 1945s, Naomi Givens is investigating this incident that has been caused by another group coming back in time. And we kind of meet a little bit more of the cast. We meet a potential love interest for her, which is this American Army officer who is kind of like, hey, I can't show you this stuff. This is supposed to be secretive. And we start to really kind of unravel this mystery. And there's a lot to it. This issue is not super, super long, but there's so much mythology and time travel-y funness packed into it. It's really starting to open up a lot of questions. And again, there isn't a lot of character development to this first issue. We really kind of focus on Naomi, which is great. She's our main character, so obviously we will. And they do so much that it's kind of easy to forgive that because they're setting up a lot without throwing in the normal like exposition that you normally see in heavy sci-fi first issues.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of refreshing. The art is great. I'm really interested to see where the story goes because I love the time period of the 1945s. And of course, what's going on in the future and kind of switching back between these parallel times to really find out what this terrifying incident might be and what it's being put on. And of course, what's this whole Archangel, which the comic is named after, which is supposed to be a secret mission. So very, very interesting. Last thing I'd like to add about this comic, which is really fun, is at the very end, normally they answer letters or they leave some comments.
Yeah.
This particular one, William Gibson, being big in sci-fi, he really kind of talks out at the end of the comic. He talks a lot about the characters in the story, like kind of gives backgrounds that you don't even get reading the comic, which is weird.
Yeah.
But also talks about this really interesting idea where he kind of came up with this idea with another writer or had been previously writing issues or stories with another writer in the past, and it creates this idea called the third man, which he talks about in the back of the issue, which is a really interesting topic. I know it's a little off from talking about the comic, but I thought it was interesting enough that he says, like, when you're working with another writer, it's the two of you writing something, you start to write a story, and the words in the dialogue you're reading are not really written by you and not really written by the other author because you're kind of mixing and matching, that it creates this third man, this third author, which is a really kind of interesting and surreal feeling for these authors writing these comics and writing these tales and stories. So it was an interesting read. I highly recommend checking it out. It's at the back of the comic. It's really fun. So anyways, guys, that's Archangel. I'm really interested to see where it goes. I love sci-fi and time travel stuff.
Yeah.
If you love any of it, definitely check it out. Mike, what's your pull?
My poll is also bird-themed or wing-themed, whatever.
Fair enough.
Mockingbird from Marvel Comics, written by Chelsea Cain, art by Kate Niemczyk. Sure.
That's probably right.
It's interesting because a couple of years ago, I think during Dark Reign, during that storyline, Bobby Morse, Mockingbird, who people will know as sort of S.H.I.E.L.D. agent from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, that character has kind of become bigger in pop culture because of the show.
She was a member of the New Avengers. She got really injured, and Nick Fury gave her an experimental super soldier serum thing. So she has a little bit of superpowers now, in addition to having not died in that critical injury.
That's very important.
This comic is all about the fact that she is a C-list hero, struggling with the fact that now she has superpowers, and the first issue is all about her like weekly doctor's appointments, as they are constantly checking up on her and asking her questions that she thinks are absurd. But there's also like this undercurrent of sort of sinister element. Like there's a question of an element of paranoia under the surface of that scene, because there's sort of a question building throughout the first issue of whether she can trust the people treating her, or rather testing her, or if she can trust her own senses. And there's sort of like this question posed by that in the first issue, and I don't want to get into what it sort of hinges on and what's going on, or what seems to be going on, but it definitely seems like something strange is happening, that Bobby sort of is trying to like be sarcastic with the doctors and like, oh, play it off. No, I'm not seeing anything. But she is seeing something, and is it real? Is that actually happening? But it's also interesting because like the second and third issue jump back, like we see her doctor's appointments and she's in these like weird costumes. Like in one of the doctor's visits, she's wearing like a dominatrix outfit. And in the second issue, we see that she was infiltrating the Hellfire Club with Hunter, the other character on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., who she and he have a history. He's been brought into the comics, or maybe he was already, I don't think he was. I think he was an original character.
I think he was probably brought into the comics.
So he was brought in as like this character. They have this fun relationship that sort of plays out through the second issue. The third is all about her dealing with a young girl who is discovering superpowers. And it's all about also Bobby having to deal with the fact that like, does she have powers? Like, what exactly is she capable of now that she wasn't before? Like, that's kind of what the whole series is about. And it's very kind of heady in that it's not really answering the question yet. It's just showing up. It's lining up dominoes right now. But it's also in these really interesting scenes where, like, she's definitely capable of stuff that she wasn't before. How much of that is her? How much of that is real? There's interesting things in play right now as far as what's happening.
So it's a lot of like testing the reality of what she's experiencing.
Yeah, and testing like what she's going through as well.
Right. Can you trust your senses?
Especially,
Can you trust your gut?
Especially in the first issue, that's a big part of it. And there's a lot of significance involved in a ping pong ball. I'm not going to say why.
The what?
But a ping pong ball is a major element in this comic.
But to be honest, I really love that idea that a ping pong ball is a main focus. And I don't mean that sarcastically. I think that sounds cool.
I would say that it has relevance the way that the Watch in Stranger Than Fiction does.
Oh.
Where you're told early on, there's
That's
a significance,
awesome.
and you're like, why? And you keep seeing it, and it keeps being a part of this story, and you're like, we are hinging on ping pong balls a lot in this issue and a lot in this comic.
There's a
And
lot more ping pong balls in this comic than I thought there would be.
ping pong bongs?
Yep. Exactly.
We know the King's English. Anyway, check out Mockingbird, Chelsea Cain, and Kate Niemczyk. I'm not sure, but go check it out. And, Bobby Morse is cool. It's kind of got a little bit of Hawkeye flavor, which is appropriate because Hawkeye and Mockingbird were married in the
That's
comics.
right.
So they are birds of a feather. I'll just excuse myself.
Yeah, please leave. Thank you, Mike. All right, I'll be sure to get a new person in here to do our main segment. Whoever you are, kick things off.
I'm definitely not Mike. Here we go. The Legion of Superheroes. The Super-Moby Dick of Space. It's 1965. We're reading Adventure Comics number 322, written by Edmond Hamilton, penciled by John Forte, inked by George Klein. Title, The Super-Moby Dick of Space.
Mike, if there was an award for best comic title ever, this would probably be pretty up there.
This would be nominated for sure.
Absolutely. What was it again, Mike?
The Super-Moby Dick of
The
Space.
Super-Moby Dick of Space.
I have a hard time believing that you can't recall it. It feels like it sticks in the mind.
I love that it's not the Moby Dick of Space.
Sure.
Which totally would have been fine.
Yeah.
It is the Super-Moby Dick of Space.
Yes.
Wow.
Deep in space, a rocket ship runs into a huge green whale-like monster with red bat wings.
Wow, we are getting right into it.
Yeah, panel 1. There it is.
Amazing.
It bites the nose and starts chewing on the rocket, the nose of the rocket, starts chewing on it, forcing the crew to evacuate in lifeboats.
Makes sense.
Escape pods, but
Don't want to get eaten by a Super Moby Dick.
Yeah, wouldn't like that. Not in space. They watch as the creature digs into the oars that were their cargo, starts eating them up. They send out this distress call, and Lightning Lad, who is on a solo mission, Lightning Lad, a member of the Legion of Superheroes, who, for listeners who haven't listened to our other Legion of Superheroes episode, they're set in the far future. All these people from different planets have different superpowers. They're all teenagers. They all work together to protect evil. Lightning Lad has lightning powers.
Protect against evil.
Yes, protect us from evil. That's true. You foiled the big twist.
In the future, everyone's evil.
Anyway, he intercepts this message. He goes to investigate. He assumes that these people are exaggerating about what they saw, because, sure, some creatures eat matter. I mean, heck, the Legion has a member named Matter Eater Lad, but none of them. Yeah, no, he's real. But none of them are as big as what they're describing.
Now, the name, Matter Eater Lad.
Yeah, he can eat anything.
Okay. Still, the name is like, I eat matter. You know, what everything is made out of.
Welcome to the Legion of Superheroes, Jay.
Amazing.
Nemesis Boy. Remember Nemesis Boy?
I remember Nemesis Boy.
Or the Karate Kid?
Oh, God. I love these groups of superheroes.
However, Lightning Lad arrives on this planet and sees this space whale eating metal produced by a small mine. And he realizes, well, they were not exaggerating. That's very large.
Indeed.
Lightning Lad doesn't want to kill the beast. It's against the Legion code to kill unnecessarily. So he fires a small bolt of energy, just enough to subdue this creature. The beam rebounds and hits Lightning Lad in the arm.
Sucker.
And it's also tingling with a green poison that was infused from the creature.
Oh, no.
The beast flies away, and Lightning Lad tries to follow, but he starts blacking out. He has to set the autopilot to fly him back to the Legion clubhouse. When he lands, he sort of staggers out, and he has to be helped off the ship by the Legionnaires. The core group we're going to follow in this comic, besides Lightning Lad, are Saturn Girl. Mm-hmm. She is, I think, psychic or telekinetic. It never comes up. I don't think we ever see her use her powers in the comic. Brainiac 5, who's a descendant of Brainiac, who's a good guy now, and Superboy, who's been pulled from the past and he's hanging out with the future people who were inspired by him.
Fair enough.
They learn what happened from Lightning Lad's recorder on his ship, and they call Dr. Lanfear, a surgeon who is also the greatest expert on space-dwelling creatures.
Wow.
Very convenient.
Yeah, it is.
The doctor unfortunately has no choice but to amputate, so he replaces Lightning Lad's right arm with a mechanical arm.
Whoa, that jumped real fast.
Yeah, no, he got his arm amputated in this comic.
Holy crap.
Yeah, Lightning Lad, this is the benefit of being set, several thousand years in the future. They don't have to worry about continuity.
Yeah, it really gives the writers a lot of freedom.
Carte blanche. Lightning Lad vows revenge on the space monster.
Fair enough.
I mean, he lost a limb to a space whale, so
did.
You see where we're going with this.
Here's the thing, though. To be fair, it was his lightning bolt that bounced back and hit him in his arm. Technically, he just hit the whale's defenses.
We'll get there.
All right.
We'll get there, Jay. Don't jump ahead. Saturn Girl reminds Lightning Lad that's not how the Legion does things. They don't kill people.
We don't seek revenge on Super-Moby Dick whales.
Superboy is on a mission to go deal with the creature to remove it far from inhabited worlds. But they can't kill it. That's the rule. Saturn Girl also notices Lightning Lad's changed behavior, but Brainiac 5 says he may have received some subtle concussion or brain shock, but he'll forget about the monster after Superboy takes care of it. First of all, yes, perhaps his change of personality is due to the trauma he experienced. I don't think he's going to forget.
Yeah.
Oh, how did I lose my arm again? Oh, yeah, that monster. I totally forgot about that. Well.
I wake up every day and I see this robotic arm, and I think to myself, how did this happen? Oh, that's right.
Time heals all wounds, except for my arm, which I got from, what was it again?
So not memorable.
Superboy, unfortunately, can't go near the beast. It is emanating the same energy as green kryptonite.
Oh, man.
He mentions that Mon-El could deal with it, but Mon-El is in another galaxy.
This thing's more powerful than the Anti-Monitor. What is this thing?
I don't barely know what the Anti-Monitor is. I know.
Fair enough.
I know that the Anti-Monitor was a big deal in DC Comics. That's all.
It's okay. I know everybody, so if you like the Anti-Monitor, it's fine. I know what it is.
Cool. Superboy flies back and asks Dr. Lanfear what this origin of this creature could be, and Dr. Lanfear, I can't say yet, but he really worries it will be devastating to space shipping, the way Moby Dick did with.
Oh, really, Doctor? Devastating to space shipping?
That's what happened.
Why do we keep you around, Doctor?
That's what happened with Moby Dick on Earth, which he explains to Superboy, who's from the past and has probably read Moby Dick.
Yeah, probably, or at least heard of Moby Dick.
Yeah, he is.
I don't know. I'd say he's probably something like a Super-Moby Dick.
The government offers $50,000 to anyone who can catch the creature, which is now being referred to by multiple people as
inflation,
the Super-Moby Dick.
Inflation stopped after a while in the future.
I don't know what pennies are, what they're using as current. I don't know what happened. Whatever.
Maybe there was a dark age.
I'm a little surprised there's money.
Yeah, that's true.
At this point, multiple characters, Dr. Lanfear as well as people who watch the news, are referring to this creature as the Super-Moby Dick. A few, they're not referred to as this, but basically soldiers of fortune decide to try their hand at capturing this beast. They go to an asteroid field and drop metal bars to lure the creature. As the beast approaches, the ships try to catch it with a big net. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
And it shakes free and nearly destroys the ships. The mercenaries fly away because, of course, they do. That is the appropriate response. The Legion of Superheroes start to mobilize, start to ready their ships, and Dr. Lanfear wants to join the mission, saying it's his responsibility to help. Brainiac 5 thinks, it's strange, Dr. Lanfear saying that. I suppose he means that as an expert on space-dwelling creatures, his knowledge will be needed. Brainiac 5, high intelligence, low wisdom.
Yeah, really, really low.
Not really catching what Dr. Lanfear's putting down here.
Hey, they hung out with a guy called Nemesis Boy for a while, and I had no idea.
Like a day.
Yeah, still though.
The Legion discovers that Ultra Boy, who can switch between one power at a time, sort of like Nemesis Boy, but different. Anyway, he has left to take on the Super-Moby Dick on his own. because they're all teenagers and these things happen. He tries using his strength to hold the creature, to hold it like by the wing, but he's shaken free and manages to switch to invulnerability right before he winds up inside the creature's mouth.
Good call.
Yep. Ultra Boy jams his flashlight into one of the creature's cavities, and it's one of its teeth, striking a nerve, literally, and causing the creature to open its mouth in pain and anger. At this point, Ultra Boy switches to super speed and just hauls butt back to Earth.
Yeah, makes sense.
Ultra Boy reports to the Legion, and they equip everything they can to track the creature. Brainiac 5 is put in charge, but then Lightning Lad shows up and says, "I'll command the mission. I'm fully recovered, and I claim this command." The Legion Constitution, Clause 14, Subclause 8, says that in an emergency, whichever Legionnaire best understands the danger shall command. I know the Super-Moby Dick best. Which, I would argue that Ultra Boy also has a vow.
Yeah, he's been inside of the creature.
Yeah, he was in its mouth.
Like Lightning Lad just threw a lightning bolt from a distance, and it went horribly wrong. I would say he knows the least about it.
Superboy says Lightning Lad is right about the Constitution, even though doesn't seem to be himself. He is right.
I mean, he seems pretty unstable. We should probably let him do this.
Lightning Lad takes over the control room. He basically, ordinarily, Brainiac 5 puts in the controls, puts in the coordinates, but Lightning Lad's doing this himself. And he continues to silently vow by his metal arm that he'll kill the monster, not trap it. This duel will be to the death.
Oof. I'm sure that's very Legionnaire approved.
A little bit of time passes because books used to divide up into chapters, comics used to have chapters, don't worry about it, but at this point, it's been a little bit, and I think everyone on the ship knows that he wants to kill the beast. Like, even though he's doing it in closed rooms and be like, I will kill this creature, they're all like, oh, he's going to try to kill that creature.
Yeah.
Like, he's 100%. He tracks the movements of the creature, he's charting their course. Saturn Girl is concerned with his obsession with killing the beast, and Brainiac 5 says the concussion effect should be passing away by now.
Man,
Good,
Brainiac 5, just really on point.
Good work out there, smartest person in the galaxy.
Jeez.
Superboy shares the same doubts, and he shares them with some of the other Legionnaires on the ship. They can't let Lightning Lad violate the Legion code. He makes a plan with the rest of the Legion members. I don't think Saturn Girl and Brainiac 5 are in the room, but someone who is in the room, who's part of the plan, is Colossal Boy.
Oh.
Meanwhile, Dr. Lanfear silently thinks to himself in his cabin that everyone could die when they find the Super-Moby Dick, and it's all his fault. I'm guilty for everything that's happened.
Oh, no.
As the ship nears the asteroid Thanar, which is where the creature's been spotted, Superboy and Colossal Boy leave the ship via an escape hatch, hoping to avoid tragedy. Superboy sees the inhabitants of Thanar are mineral-fleshed people. That doesn't look good.
They what?
They have mineral flesh. Their flesh is made of minerals.
Ah, okay.
I guess everyone's is to a degree, but not really. I don't know. They're made of like rocks and stuff, and the creature eats rocks and stuff.
Oh,
and
no.
ores and things. So
Probably bad.
it's going to eat
for them.
probably. So they're obviously panicked about this huge space fish that's descending on their city.
Fair enough.
As they land, Colossal Boy takes off his spacesuit and becomes huge, hoping to lure the creature away from the city. He throws sand in its eyes and draws its attention.
So he's a dirty fighter.
Yeah, he is. And he leads it back to a cave trap crafted by Superboy. He basically took a cave and I'm not sure if he carved it out, but he definitely made like a little stone portcullis that's going to drop down
Wow.
once the creature's inside.
Very inventive.
And with these huge stone bars, the creature won't be able to get out. But Colossal Boy can shrink down and slip between the bars. This is a good plan.
It is a good plan.
Unfortunately,
I mean, very complicated, but still good.
Unfortunately, Lightning
no.
Lad's ship arrives, draws the attention of the creature. It stops following Colossal Boy, takes a bite out of that spaceship. Superboy has to go fly and catch the ship, and the Super-Moby Dick gets away. Lightning Lad's pretty mad about everything that just happened.
Is it because his friends didn't tell him about it?
That's a part of it.
Oh, okay.
Also, he wants to kill that guy.
Makes sense.
So he vows to punish them later for interfering in his revenge, refusing to accept or acknowledge the fact that Superboy and Colossal Boy prevented the deaths of like a whole bunch of people who were about to be eaten by a space whale.
Yeah.
They all pile back onto the ship and they fly after the Super-Moby Dick. The Super-Moby Dick. That's hard to say.
It is hard to say. Very quickly. Everybody try it at home. Super-Moby Dick.
Super-Moby Dick. Super-Moby Dick. Dr. Lanfear helps upgrade Lightning Lad's arm to create a more powerful weapon.
Oh, boy.
The details of which we do not touch upon at this moment, but perhaps we will later.
This doctor is quite the enabler.
Yeah, and Saturn Girl's seeing all this, and she's like, oh, I'm not so sure about all this business. That's probably how she talks.
Lightning Lad, this is where we keep the missiles underneath the wrist.
He's just tinkering with the settings. of the laser hand.
The nuclear bomb setting is when you put your index finger to your thumb.
Say moose and squirrel.
Moose and squirrel.
Thank you. They follow the Super-Moby Dick to an uninhabited planet surrounded by many little satellites. The world of 100 moons. By satellites, I don't mean like Sputnik. I mean like just moons.
Oh, so they're just a bunch of moons.
Small moons.
Gotcha.
100 moons. Or hundreds of moons. I don't know. The planet has metal outcroppings, so the Super-Moby Dick is here to feast. The Legion members approach the beast, and Lightning Lad tells everyone to stand back. However, as he fires lightning at this creature, Superboy flies in between Lightning Lad and his target and takes the lightning blast.
Oh no!
The creature approaches, seeing like, hey, what's this going on over here? I want to know more. And Superboy blacks out because this creature has kryptonite in its system or whatever. Point is, it's radioactive, and that's not good for Superboy. Dr. Lanfear runs over to Superboy. I have to save him. It's all my fault, which is not super helpful. We don't see it happen, but he gets knocked out.
Oh no!
Saturn Girl commands the Legion members to use their flight rings to fly around and distract the Super-Moby Dick, so he doesn't just kill these two people who are unconscious on the ground.
Yeah.
But, Dr. Lanfear is stunned, he's injured, and the Legion needs to return him to Earth to get him to a hospital. Lightning Lad instead sends Ultra Boy, take him at super speed, it'll be faster. Besides, we have a mission to complete. As Lightning Lad's ship approaches the Super-Moby Dick's location, the other Legion members turn on him. They're no longer accepting his role as the captain.
They're pretty open about like, hey, stop trying to kill this thing.
Yeah, so they hold a little meeting because they have to observe protocol to basically...
We have set this meeting to usurp you.
They're like, look, we have to go meet and decide if you're going to be in charge, and if not, then who. And Lightning Lad just leaves the ship. He just gets in a small space boat and he flies off to take on the Super-Moby Dick by himself.
It's almost like it was a mutiny.
It's exactly like it was a mutiny, yes. Lightning Lad arrives at a long-dead planet, the world of dead robots.
Wow.
Huge colossuses, like metal colossuses, stand over a city, and Lightning Lad thinks, those huge metal giants, created to serve humans, revolted and drove their masters away. Then, unable to repair themselves, they gradually stopped running and died.
Did Jack Kirby write this part of the comic?
No, but it's cool.
Yeah,
it's very
sounds
cool.
awesome.
The creature rises out of this, because it's here because it can eat all these robots. And
what an awesome planet for this creature.
It's kind of perfect.
Like, I feel like they could just leave it on this planet.
Well, it's pretty big. It's gonna make its way through this food supply.
Wow, already?
Well, no, it's huge. It's just a big creature. It's whale-sized.
But like to eat a whole planet of robots.
No, not yet. But like it's gonna make quick work of these things.
Fair enough.
You don't want to leave it. And besides, he's probably motivated by revenge and stuff. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who can say? The creature rises to attack Lightning Lad and smashes the boat, the spaceship thing. Lightning Lad manages to activate his flight ring and land safely, just barely. But the creature comes around.
Stop taking those spaceships around. I feel like there's a lot of expenses being put to waste with all of these spaceships getting eaten or destroyed by this whale.
The creature comes around to eat Lightning Lad, and just as the rest of the Legion is arriving on their spaceship, arriving on the planet, and they're seeing this happen, they see Lightning Lad unload lightning from his robot arm. But the beams that bounce back don't pass into his system. They bounce back onto his robot arm. They don't poison him because it's a metal arm, and
right.
That wouldn't happen.
Poison doesn't affect robots. But
the Legion members watch stunned as Lightning Lad's amplified super lightning, as it's called, doesn't kill the creature, it shrinks it. Saturn Girl notices the Lightning Lad seems like himself, as though the concussion effect that changed your character had gone away. He says it went away back on that asteroid, back on Thanar, the people with the mineral skin and stuff. But at that time, Dr. Lanfear secretly confessed that he had been studying small space beasts and experimented on one of them. He hit it with some... he noted that it didn't change in size. He hit it with some negative energy, and it way changed in size, and it got super big, unleashing the creature into space. But he knew that a positive force, lightning, I guess, would likely reverse the effect. But he begged Lightning Lad not to reveal this secret of what Dr. Lanfear had done until the beast was harmless again. Because he couldn't share the doctor's plan. Well, that kind of made it look like he was still warped by hatred and, demented Lightning Lad visions of killing this creature.
Right.
He understands the confusion. He understands how that happened.
It's pretty fair.
They leave the monster alone because it's
tiny,
literally harmless now. And now
adorable.
That planet's going to last him a good long time.
Awesome.
And they return to Earth. On Earth, Dr. Lanfear thanks Lightning Lad, but he'll always grieve for Lightning Lad's lost arm. Lightning Lad said it wasn't Lanfear's fault and it can't be helped now. A doctor there mentions, but that's not entirely true. We're working on new techniques which could allow for an arm and leg bank down the road.
An arm and leg bank?
Yeah.
Sure.
And Lightning Lad says, then Maybe someday I'll have a living right arm again? Wonderful. I won't mind my robot arm if I have that hope. But he keeps his robot arm for a while.
Wow.
That continuity sticks around for a little bit.
Oh, that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
I was surprised that they were going to keep that robot arm for as long as they did. I thought that would be wrapped up at the end of the comic.
No, he had it for a while.
Jeez, wow. Well, hey, good for Lightning Lad and his crazy super lightning arm.
Yeah.
Man, that is a crazy story, and now we all got to say Super-Moby Dick in Space,
Super-Moby Dick of Space.
which is just the best thing.
The Super-Moby Dick.
Yeah. Man. Wow. Well, great main segment, Mike.
Thank you, sir.
And that'll be taking us to our game.
Okay.
Super-Mundane.
Okay.
All right, this is Super-Mundane. This is the game where I will name a mundane task or activity, and we will have to decide which hero of Marvel or DC would be the best at this, and which hero of Marvel or DC would be the worst. For this Super-Mundane, the question is, who would be the best and who would be the worst ruler? Now, I know that's not a Super-Mundane activity,
Not
but guys,
especially.
after doing 57 episodes, it is tough to come up with that many mundane activities.
The best ruler?
Yes.
You want to know which superhero would be the best ruler?
Yes. Oh, man, I didn't think about this one long enough at all. Hold on.
Black Panther?
Hold on. Hold on. Currently, in his existing comic run, he is really struggling with being a ruler. I believe that's actually the linchpin of his current run.
Touche, Jones.
Yeah, I believe you just did a pull on this, Mike.
Like a month ago.
You should know this.
If only there were any other comic book characters who
That
were
were
in charge of
rulers
things.
of
Namor?
Here's the thing. Namor's a pretty effective ruler.
Yeah.
Like, he kind of owns that really well. Like, he's
Yeah.
a jerk, but, like, for protecting and ruling his city, I mean, he crushes it.
Thor?
Thor, yeah, probably.
Wonder Woman?
Wonder Woman for sure. Yeah, she does protect Themyscira pretty hard, but is she, I mean, yeah, I guess she'd be a pretty dope ruler.
Yeah, Wonder Woman, Thor, Namor. I feel like Wonder Woman's kind of like the best of those.
She's pretty solid, yeah.
Of the people who are royalty, who I'm coming up with. Now,
I mean, I love Aquaman from Brave and Bold.
Oh, Aquaman, duh.
Yeah.
Aquaman. Like, there's, like, terrorists and stuff in Atlantis, but, like, besides that, it's fine.
It's pretty great.
I feel like it's got to be Aquaman or Wonder Woman.
Yeah. I mean, does Themyscira ever really come under attack? I mean, it does.
I remember the time a bunch
And,
of
like,
Doomsdays showed up.
And, I mean, I guess,
That was
like,
kind of dumb.
occasionally Ares, like, will show up and, like,
Ares or Hades.
mess with stuff.
Ares or Hades.
Like,
are
people
usually.
get turned into statues for a while, but, like, it never gets, like, destroyed, right?
Yeah, but does Atlantis? Like DC's Atlantis? They just have to deal with, well, they also have to deal with the inter-trader things. Like, their big threats are Black Manta and
Ocean
Master. But, like, even then, it's just, like, cool Shakespearean stuff.
Yeah.
It's not any worse than
true.
Loki, and Loki's kind of low on the list of things that Asgard has to deal with.
That's true.
He's, like, first movie stuff.
So, coin toss between Aquaman and Wonder Woman. Now let's break it down to their characters. Now, if we wanted a ruler, which one would we prefer?
Probably Wonder Woman.
Yeah, probably.
I feel like she's
She's a competent leader. She always seems to be like the most level-headed in most things.
or if she's like not, then she still has a good point.
Yeah.
You know, when Aquaman's not the most level-headed guy, it's because, like, well, surface dwellers are garbage. And it's like, well,
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
Aquaman does have...
you're not wrong, but it just hurts to hear.
He does have a bit of the surface dweller
Well,
bias.
I mean, it's when he becomes Namor.
Although Wonder Woman also has a huge bias against half the population as well.
No, she doesn't. She just has a understandable third-party perspective.
True.
She doesn't hate men.
Yeah, I know. She grows out of that. That's
She's
like
not-
kind of like that's like Wonder Woman page 1, and then that changes very quickly.
Well, she's not even that. She's more like the, like, look, a man landed on our island. And everyone's like, well, we should kill it. And she's like, well, hang on. What?
wait, hold on.
Maybe
Why are we
let's
doing
not
that?
kill it. Maybe let's see if it's nice and can help us. And, like, let's go explore the world of men. That's always
That's
how
true.
Wonder Woman's felt to me. Is like she
Yeah.
wants to know more about our world so she can be a better ruler.
That's very true.
And that fact that she's not as close-minded to the world above as Aquaman. I mean, and even that depends on your version of Aquaman. Also, Aquaman doesn't really have a consistent character, so this is a very difficult question to answer.
Indeed it is.
But I feel like
Wonder Woman's probably the best.
I'm gonna go with Wonder Woman.
I think she'd be a
even
great
though
ruler.
she's probably not ruled as often. I think that's because when she's in charge, it's not as dramatically interesting as when, like, you can put Thor in charge of something and it goes wrong.
We've got Wonder Woman for best. Who would be the worst ruler?
Okay,
Who could potentially take on the throne?
that's
Or
the thing you have to
throne.
think about. Is there has to be someone who you would possibly give the role to.
I feel like I'm stretching with that one.
Oh, what is it? Let's hear it.
I was going to say Damian Wayne, because he is the son
Oh.
of Talia
Interesting.
and potential heir to the demon's head.
Yeah.
Heir
now-
to the Ra's al Ghul, army and League of Assassins, or League of Shadows, depending on what name you want to go with.
Usually assassins, occasionally shadows. I think the interesting thing about Damien is that my understanding of him is that his temperament, I don't know about improves, but he does get wiser, doesn't
He
he?
does get wiser, but still probably a bad pick to be a ruler. But I think we can probably go worse than Damian Wayne.
And also a little more conventional ruling.
Yes.
Instead of a weird terrorist thing.
Boy.
Oh, Cyclops?
Yeah, wasn't he?
He declared Utopia to be a sovereign state,
Yeah.
and within the year, half the people left.
Yeah. He was
And
a
he
pretty
had
bad ruler.
He had a huge fight because here was the argument he had with Wolverine. There was a comic called Schism a while ago where Cyclops and Wolverine, who had been kind of butting heads for years, finally had their Civil War breakup, and it wasn't about Jean Grey because she'd been dead for a while. Although that is the moment when, in the final issue or whatever, when it was very clear that they were going to fight anyway.
Right.
There's just a moment when they're like, "Oh well, why hold back?" And Cyclops is like, "She never loved you." And it's like, "Oh, that was
Here we go.
That hurt. We're in it now." But no, the fight they had, of all things, is because Cyclops was recruiting all the mutants available to help fight the threats, including the children, because his feeling was we are an endangered species. They're past the limit of what an endangered species is. They're basically too extinct at that point. Because there's not enough people to make more of them.
Yeah, to make more. There's a certain amount of DNA and gene pool you need.
Genetic diversity that you need. So he was recruiting everyone that they could, basically the state of emergency. And Wolverine was like, no, our job as grown-ups
Is to protect.
is to do the things that they can't do. That's the Wolverine's whole thing. It's the
Yeah.
reason he's in the Avengers. It's the reason he's in the X-Men ever, is he's the one who will do the things that people aren't willing to or shouldn't have to do. Even
Yeah.
when he brought his sort of daughter, sort of sister clone, the Laura Kinney X-23 into X-Force, he said over and over again, you don't have to do this. My whole thing is that I'm trying to make it so you never have to kill people. That's my whole goal in
Yeah.
life.
And it's the thing he's the best at.
So the thing that they fought over was that Wolverine didn't think that they should be turning kids into weapons.
Which is a pretty good argument.
Totally reasonable. That's also when Cyclops, to me, had the most interesting kind of characterization, is when he started having this sort of all measures, whatever it takes kind of ends justify the means mentality. That made him really interesting. And that schism led to him being infected by the Phoenix Force. That led to him killing Charles Xavier.
Yeah.
That led to him being a terrorist on the lam and stuff. He's a really interesting character, and I love what the X-Men comics have done with him in the last few years. Not a great ruler.
No, not a good ruler at all.
I think Cyclops is
That's a good pick because he's a good leader of the X-Men, but when he's put in this kind of ruler status,
especially in this state of emergency.
yeah, he really buckles under the pressure.
Well, it wasn't even that. He became hardened.
Yeah.
He became this is what we have to do. And that was not a great person. Half of his people left.
Yeah.
They went and they started a new book, and it was delightful.
Wow. That was a great pick for worst.
Thank you, sir.
So I think we've got it. So we've got our best ruler is going to be Wonder Woman, and our worst is Cyclops. Guys, people, everyone, that was episode 57 of Because Comics.
Oh,
We'll be hosting and posting a new episode every other week. If you'd like to download more episodes or check out other similar podcasts, head over to partialarc.com. That's arc with a C. Of course, you can email us any questions at becausecomics@gmail.com or
Yay.
follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and Tumblr, all at Partial Arc. And be sure to check out more content from our comic boy wonder, Mike Christensen,
blink, blink, blink.
at partialarc.com, where he writes articles every Tuesday and Thursday. Thanks for listening, and remember,
Once we figure out who was responsible, we can start asking the important question. Why did they let the dogs out?
yeah, I mean, if it was going to be such a problem, such a problem, they had to ask everybody. And
Yeah.
I mean everybody who let them out.
Because comics.